Is it really possible to stop muscle loss as we age? What if the solution wasn't lifting heavy weights or pricey supplements, but instead a humble dish eaten in Japan for over 1,000 years? Here's the shocking truth. After 50, your muscles shrink by about 1% every year. By 70, you could lose nearly a third of your strength. That's why climbing stairs feels harder, balance slips, and independence fades. But scientists now say one unusual food may be strong enough to slow this decline. And no, it's not steak, protein shakes, or a miracle pill. It's a food most people outside Japan have never even heard of. Quick question before we dive in. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from and your age. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss our next video about getting strong after 50. Now let's talk about the hidden crisis of aging that nobody warns you about: sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is quietly affecting nearly everyone over 50. By 60, 1 in 5 adults already struggle with it. By your 70s, you could lose up to a third of your muscle mass. The result? Weakness, slower walking, poor balance, and more falls. Everyday tasks like standing up or carrying groceries become harder and harder. Doctors usually talk about heart health or cholesterol, but rarely mention muscles, even though they're the very thing protecting your independence. What's the normal advice? Eat protein and exercise. But let's be real. Not everyone can lift weights or eat steaks daily. So the question is there another way to fight muscle loss? Research made in Japan says yes, and it points to one strange food. So what is this mysterious food? It's called natto, a traditional Japanese dish made from fermented soybeans. This may be the most powerful food for protecting aging muscles, and we're about to show you how. For over 1,000 years, natto has been a breakfast staple in Japan. Outsiders often find it odd, but here's the twist. Natto eaters consistently live longer, stay stronger, and age more gracefully than much of the world. Why? Because natto isn't just soybeans. Fermenting them with a special bacteria, Bacillus subtilis, completely transforms their nutrition. Proteins break into highly absorbable amino acids, and one in particular, leucine, skyrockets, flipping on the body's muscle-building switch. And natto isn't just about protein. It holds two rare treasures found almost nowhere else: vitamin K2 and Nattokinase. Together, they make natto unlike any other food. And scientists now believe they're the missing link in fighting sarcopenia. Let's start with vitamin K2, the nutrient that does far more than just protect your bones. Most people think of vitamin K2 as a bone nutrient. True, it directs calcium into bones and keeps them strong. But new research shows K2 also supports muscle health. Here's how. K2 activates a protein called osteocalcin, which acts like a messenger between bones and muscles. When switched on, it improves how muscles use calcium to contract and stay strong. Without enough K2, this communication weakens, and so do your muscles. And natto? It's the richest natural source of vitamin K2 anywhere. Just 100 grams delivers over 1,000 micrograms, far more than cheese, eggs, or supplements. No wonder studies in Japan found women who ate natto regularly had up to 80% less bone loss than those who didn't. And because bones and muscles work together, stronger bones mean better stability, fewer fractures, and more strength. But K2 is only half the story. Natto also creates an enzyme so unique, it improves circulation and nutrient delivery in ways no other food can. If vitamin K2 builds the foundation, nattokinase is the fuel pump. This rare enzyme is made only during natto's fermentation. You won't find it in tofu or soy milk. And what is its specialty? Improving circulation. As we age, blood flow slows. Arteries stiffen, blood thickens, and muscles stop getting the nutrients they need. Nattokinase helps by breaking down excess fibrin, the protein that clogs blood flow. Research shows it keeps blood thinner, oxygen higher, and nutrients moving smoothly. For muscles, that means better delivery of what they need to repair and grow. And, as a bonus, nattokinase also supports the heart and brain, making natto a true whole-body protector. But natto's power doesn't stop with enzymes or nutrients. The real magic is in the fermentation process itself, which transforms ordinary soybeans into something extraordinary. Here's the secret. Natto's power doesn't come from soybeans alone. It comes from fermentation. When soybeans are fermented with Bacillus subtilis, their nutrition is completely transformed. Proteins break down into smaller peptides and amino acids that your body absorbs up to 30% more efficiently. That means your muscles actually use the protein instead of letting it go to waste. Even better, fermentation massively increases leucine, the amino acid that flips on your body's muscle-building switch. In natto, leucine levels can be up to 90 times higher than in plain soy. And fermentation creates compounds you won't find anywhere else. Nattokinase, anti-inflammatory peptides, and live probiotics. This makes natto something no protein shake or supplement can copy. Those probiotics are especially powerful because they set off a chain reaction in your gut that may be just as important as exercise for keeping your muscles strong. Here's something surprising. Your gut bacteria can decide how strong your muscles stay as you age. This link is called the gut-muscle axis, and natto is one of the few foods that powers it. Its probiotics create compounds called short-chain fatty acids, acetate, propionate, and butyrate. Why do these matter? They activate the mTOR pathway, the switch for muscle growth. They silence muscle-wasting genes, slowing atrophy, and they boost mitochondria, giving muscles more energy. In studies, SCFAs boosted strength, endurance, and muscle size by up to 60% in aging models. Human research shows seniors with higher SCFAs walk faster, grip stronger, and balance better. So every bite of natto doesn't just feed you, it feeds your microbiome, which in turn feeds your muscles. But there's still one more enemy, chronic inflammation. And if left unchecked, it can undo all these gains. Even with enough protein and exercise, chronic inflammation can still steal muscle strength. Signals like TNF-alpha and IL-6 act like alarms telling your body to break down muscle. Over time, this silent fire eats away at strength, balance, and mobility. Natto helps fight back on 3 fronts. 1. Isoflavones lower inflammatory markers. 2. SCFAs calm overactive immune responses. 3. Fermentation peptides directly switch off pathways that drive muscle breakdown. Studies show people who eat fermented soy foods have lower activity of TLR4. In plain terms, natto doesn't just slow inflammation, it helps break the cycle that accelerates muscle loss. So, how does this research and science translate to real results? The proof will surprise you. In Japan, researchers found that women who regularly ate fermented soy foods like natto had an 80% lower risk of sarcopenia compared to those who didn't. That's not a small difference, it's massive. Another clinical trial showed seniors who ate natto daily for just 8 weeks, with no changes in exercise, improved their grip strength, walking speed, and balance. No supplements, no gym memberships, just food. That means stronger hands for opening jars, steadier legs for climbing stairs, and fewer falls. In other words, independence. But natto is sticky, smelly, and not exactly easy for everyone. So how much do you really need? And what if you can't stand the taste? Research suggests just 20 to 50 grams per day. About 1 small pack is enough to see benefits. In Japan, people usually eat it at breakfast, stirred into rice with a little mustard or green onion. If the flavor or texture is tough, try mixing it into soups or stews, adding it to rice, noodles, or salads, pairing it with sauces or dressings to balance the taste. Here's a bonus tip. Eating natto in the evening may help even more since muscle repair naturally peaks during sleep. If you can't handle natto at all, miso and other fermented soy foods still help, though not as much. Supplements with vitamin K2 or nattokinase exist, but they miss the full package that fresh natto provides. So yes, it's unusual, but it may be one of the simplest, most powerful foods for protecting muscle and independence. Now the final question, is one food really enough to stop muscle loss? Or is there more to the story? So, can one food really stop muscle loss? The evidence says yes. Natto delivers vitamin K2, strengthening the bone-muscle connection. Nattokinase, boosting circulation so muscles get the fuel they need. Fermentation magic, making protein more usable and creating new compounds. feeding your gut to feed your muscles, and anti-inflammatory peptides, breaking the cycle of decline. For centuries, Japanese families have eaten natto daily. Now modern science confirms it may be one of the simplest, most effective ways to fight sarcopenia and stay strong into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. It's sticky, it's pungent, it's not for everyone. But for those willing to try, natto could be the food that protects independence and vitality for years to come. But here's the twist. Stopping muscle loss is only half the battle. Because if your spine is weak or inflamed, strength won't matter. The real secret lies in 9 overlooked foods that scientists say can rebuild your spine and erase back pain naturally. Click here now to discover them. You won't believe what made the list.